Greg Cosell, NFL Meat Sandwich, stops by if you like to bet football, fantasy football, or just love the sport. Urban Meyer next hour, too. Joy Taylor has done, you do things to your hair. I don't even know how you do it. Seriously, I don't even know. I don't understand how you do it.
I always spring these on you, too. I don't give you any warning.
None.
I should start giving you a text. Like, hey,
I like
Colin,
this one.
It's going to be new today.
So what is this style?
This is just, we just wanted a little change up. My hair, as you guys all know, you're going on my natural journey with me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in that mid-stage.
I think it's very glamorous looking.
Thank you.
I think it's very glamorous.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's start.
Let's do the show.
My wife always says, stay current. You ever gone to a resort and it had a legendary name and you book it and you get there and you're like, a hotel or a resort, and you're like, ugh, they didn't stay current. You ever go to a restaurant? You go to a town you haven't been in for a long time. Could be San Antonio, could be New Orleans, could be Minneapolis. Oh, that's a great steakhouse. You go there and you're like, oh, they didn't stay current. Especially now, everything's changing. Everything these days, everybody is much more mobile, and there's so many smart people out there. So we had this story yesterday. The Cowboys got flexed off of Sunday Night Football. First time since 2006. First of all, for Dak, because Jerry's really at his heart a businessman. Through all of his turmoil, still America's team. This ticks off Jerry Jones more than losing. This is great for Dak. Dak makes you relevant. Dak's a topic on Monday. Always. Even when you lose with Dak, they score a bunch of points. They don't flex you out with Dak. So this just guarantees Dak's the future, right? So I just want you to think about, I'm going to ask you a question, because I do believe, and it's one of the things my wife's really good at, stay current. Don't cling to things. Don't have a legacy based on yesteryear, okay? So Dallas hasn't been to an NFC championship game in 25 years. That was Troy Aikman, right? So 25 years. That's the longest drought in the NFC, except Detroit and Washington. So let me just ask you a question. And I want you to think about this. So the Cowboys they've won since 1995. 4 total playoff games. Like wild card games. That's it. Carolina in 25 years has won 9. The Jags have won more. The Jets have won more. The Jets have been to 2 AFC championships. Crazy hot mess. Atlanta's won more. Okay. So let's do a process of elimination. Let me ask you this. So let's put together the franchises. We'll call it kind of the gold standard of the NFL, where we consider the elite franchises. They not only win, they win big games. They're mostly consistent. You just say them and you respect their front office. There's a consistency and excellence and intelligence. They don't overpay for players that often. I think you'd go Packers, Steelers, Ravens, Patriots, Seahawks, Saints. Denver's down now, but the Bolin family was remarkable. I always called Denver the Steelers with a mountain range for a long time. They're just having a down stretch. The Eagles, the Giants, the Chiefs, and the Colts. These are really the elite franchises. Excellence, intelligence. They usually don't overpay. They've had downturns, but they bounce back. Then the second level would be respected. They don't have as many big wins. They've had longer droughts, but I'd say Niners, Vikings, Titans, Atlanta, Rams, and Carolina. Now, I know what you're saying. I mean, the Titans really... All right, I want you to think about the Titans for a second. Let's just think about the Titans, because I know you're rolling your eyes at the Titans. The Titans have a Super Bowl appearance. Dallas doesn't. Beyond that, 2 other conference championships within 25 years. Dallas doesn't. And they have double the playoff wins. Okay, what about hot, crazy Atlanta? 25 years. 2 Super Bowls. 8 playoff wins. Hell, they've won 4 playoff games since 2012. This morning, the Cowboys are in last place. Since 2015, they were also in last place. So in the last 5 years, they have 1 playoff win and 2 last place finishes. You are, my friends, who you hang out with. The third category of NFL teams is what I would call the eye roll teams. Overpay, even like some of them playing well now. It's Dallas, it's Arizona, Jets, Cleveland, Chicago, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Tampa, Chargers, Houston, Cincinnati, Raiders, Dolphins. They turn wins into losses. Last 25 years, longer droughts, a lot of embarrassment, too much drama, and they're just not winning big games. Just not winning big games. Kind of if they make the playoffs, it's one and done. Always have a new coach on the way. You never really think they get the coach right in most instances. It's kind of the eye roll. Dallas is there now. Last 25 years. Dallas has not stayed current. They overpay for running backs. They sign these long contracts to offensive linemen they now can't get out of, and they're old and injured. They spend way too much money on perimeter players sometimes and not enough on, like, their defensive front. They take gambles in the draft that other really well-run teams don't. Sometimes they develop players. A lot of times, though, the Steelers, Packers do. The Cowboys don't develop their players. The Cowboys, on their Instagram, put a picture of themselves at 25. They were hunks. They're now like 50. They're overweight. They're trying to fool everybody. This isn't a shot at Dallas. 25 years. You're the Lions. You're Washington with a bigger brand. You're the resort that people still think about, but you book a weekend there, you go with your wife, and you're like, man, the paint's peeling, the food's not very good. And you look out your window in Miami, and you're like, we should have stayed at that place. It's way more current. They got a better pool. It's where all the cool people are. It's not a shot at Dallas, but they're kind of in the eye roll. They're kind of in the eye roll club now. You kind of look at them and go, yeah, it's Cincinnati. It's Buffalo. It's Miami. And by the way, I think Buffalo and Miami over the next 10 years are going to move into the next level. I'm not going to give it to them now, but I think they're really close. But, I mean, last 25 years, Miami, you roll your eyes. You roll your eyes at the Jets. They got more playoff wins. All right. So the Big Ten, I like this. The Big Ten football conference, right smack dab in the middle of America. They have changed their rules. Good for them. And they're now allowing Ohio State to play in the Big Ten championship game. And the reason they did is they said, well, regardless of whether they played or not in the championship game, because of their head-to-head victory over Indiana, win or lose against Michigan, they would have been in it, right? So they just said, let's just change the rules. So tip of the cap to the Big Ten. But I said this yesterday. This idea of fairness in college sports just cracks me up. There are teams that simply matter more. So Fox and ESPN spend about a month before the season. You don't see this. It's one of the coolest things that happens in sports that nobody sees or talks about. They have a draft, and they draft games and dates. And number one on the draft board every year for Fox and ESPN is the Ohio State-Michigan game. The second game is usually Ohio State-Penn State. The third game is usually Ohio State versus a big out-of-conference team, Texas, Oklahoma, whoever they play.